The encounter. The moon's surface was barren, cold, and silent. Captain Raylan and his team stepped cautiously from their ship, their boots crunching against the icy ground. The only sound was the faint hum of their oxygen tanks as they adjusted to the alien environment. Overhead, the distant stars twinkled, indifferent to the drama unfolding below. "Captain, the signal is coming from just ahead," said Lieutenant Harper, holding a handheld scanner. The signal was faint but steady, leading them toward a cluster of jagged rocks that seemed out of place on this lifeless moon. "Stay alert," Raylan said, his voice steady but firm. He had led countless missions before, but something about this place unsettled him. The signal wasn't natural, and the way it pulsed felt almost like a heartbeat, alive and deliberate. As they approached the rocks, the crew felt a shift in the air, a strange vibration that seemed to echo in their bones. A glowing figure emerged from behind the largest rock, tall and radiant, her presence commanding attention. She was unlike anything they had ever seen. Her features were delicate yet alien, her skin shimmering like molten silver. Her eyes glowed a deep violet, scanning the humans with an unsettling intensity. Her voice, when she spoke, was melodic but sharp, cutting through the silence like a blade. "So," she said, her tone filled with both curiosity and disdain, "these are the humans I've heard so much about." Raylan stepped forward, meeting her gaze without flinching. "I'm Captain Raylan of the Earth Exploration Fleet. We come in peace and seek to establish dialogue." The alien woman tilted her head slightly, a faint smile playing on her lips. Peace? Dialogue? Such quaint ideas for a species so young, so fragile. Raylan clenched his fists but kept his voice calm. "We may be young compared to your kind, but we've proven ourselves time and again. We've faced challenges and survived. We're not to be underestimated." The woman laughed softly, a sound both enchanting and unnerving. "Not enough," she said, her eyes narrowing. "Your strength, your intelligence, your resolve, it's all lacking. You are not enough for my kind." The crew exchanged uneasy glances. Lieutenant Harper whispered, "Captain, should we fall back?" Raylan shook his head. "No, we didn't come all this way to back down." "What do you want from us?" Raylan asked, his tone firm. The woman's smile faded, replaced by a look of cold calculation. "That depends on you, Captain. Perhaps you'll entertain me. Perhaps you'll prove me wrong." She raised a hand, and the air around them shimmered. The shadowy forms of figures began to materialize around the crew, their shapes indistinct but menacing. Raylan's team instinctively raised their weapons, but he held up a hand to stop them. "Stand down," he ordered. The alien woman raised an eyebrow, impressed. "Interesting. You don't strike first. A rare quality in your kind." "What's the point of this game?" Raylan demanded. She stepped closer, her gaze locking onto his. "A test, Captain. A test to see if your species deserves to stand among the stars, or be forgotten like so many before you." The crew tensed, realizing the gravity of her words. This wasn't just about their mission. It was about humanity's future. "What kind of test?" Raylan asked, his voice steady despite the unease growing in his chest. She smiled again, her expression unreadable. "You'll see soon enough." With a wave of her hand, the shadowy figures disappeared, leaving only the woman standing before them. "You should return to your ship and prepare, Captain. The first trial begins soon. Prove yourselves, or be erased from existence." Raylan stared at her, refusing to look away. "We won't fail." The woman's expression softened, almost imperceptibly, but her voice remained cold. "We'll see." As she vanished into the shimmering air, the crew let out a collective breath. "What now, Captain?" Harper asked, her voice shaky. Raylan turned to his team, his jaw set. "We prepare. If this is a test, then we'll show her what humanity is made of. No matter what, we don't give up. We fight for Earth, for our survival." The team nodded, determination replacing their fear. As they headed back to their ship, the eerie glow of the moon seemed to dim, as if the very stars were watching, waiting to see if humanity would rise or fall. The encounter had set the stage. The real challenge was just beginning. The test begins. The silence in the ship was heavy, broken only by the rhythmic beeping of the systems running diagnostics. Captain Raylan sat in the command chair, staring at the holographic image of Zenera that lingered in their main console. Her words replayed in his mind. "Prove yourselves, or be erased from existence." "Captain," Lieutenant Harper said, her voice tense, "we've picked up something strange. Coordinates uploaded directly into our navigation system. It's her. She's guiding us." Raylan nodded. "Set a course. We're not waiting for an invitation to run out." The ship's engines roared to life, propelling them across the barren surface toward a series of massive black obelisks rising from the moon's horizon. As they drew closer, an enormous sphere of swirling, iridescent light appeared between the structures, pulsing like a living heart. "Captain, I'm detecting no known elements in the composition of that sphere," Harper reported. "Whatever it is, it's beyond anything we've encountered." Before Raylan could respond, Zenera's voice echoed through the ship's comms. "You've arrived. Enter the sphere, and your first trial will begin." Raylan's crew looked uneasy, but he rose to his feet, his expression resolute. "We didn't come all this way to hesitate now. Let's move." The ship approached the glowing sphere, and as it breached the shimmering surface, reality itself seemed to twist. Colors blurred into one another, and the ship's sensors went haywire. Suddenly, they found themselves in a vast, endless void, a space that seemed both infinite and suffocating. In the center of the void stood Zenera, now larger than life, her form glowing brighter than before. Her voice resonated, deep and commanding. "Your first trial is simple. Face your greatest fears." Before anyone could ask what she meant, the ship's lights flickered. One by one, the crew vanished, leaving Raylan alone on the bridge. Raylan's trial. Raylan found himself in an empty field under a crimson sky. The air smelled of ash, and in the distance, he saw the ruins of Earth's great cities: New York, Tokyo, Paris, all reduced to rubble. Shadows moved among the ruins, and as they approached, Raylan recognized them: his family, his friends, his crew. "Why did you fail us, Raylan?" one of the figures said, its voice a twisted echo of Harper's. "I didn't fail," Raylan said, his voice breaking. "I'm still fighting." "You let us die," another voice whispered. "You're not enough, Captain. You never were." The shadows closed in, their hollow eyes filled with accusation. Raylan dropped to his knees, fighting to breathe, to think. Then he remembered Zenera's words. "Face your fears." Rising to his feet, he shouted into the void, "I'm not perfect, but I'll never stop fighting." That's what it means to be human. The shadows froze, then dissolved into ash. The crimson sky brightened, and Raylan found himself back on the bridge of the ship, gasping for air. Harper's trial. Lieutenant Harper stood in a room filled with screens, each one showing a catastrophic event. An alien invasion, natural disasters, humanity's extinction. A voice whispered in her ear, "You could stop all this, if you had the courage to act." "What do you mean?" she demanded. One screen showed her with a detonator in hand, prepared to destroy an alien fleet at the cost of her own life. Another showed her turning away, choosing survival over sacrifice. Harper clenched her fists. "I don't need to see the future to know what I'd do. When the time comes, I'll make the right choice." The screens went dark, and Harper awoke back in the ship, her heart pounding. The crew's ordeal. Each member of the crew faced their deepest fears: betrayal, isolation, failure. One by one, they overcame their trials, returning to the ship shaken but alive. Zenera appeared on the console once more, her expression unreadable. "Impressive. Most species fail this first step, but don't celebrate yet. Your struggles are far from over. Raylan met her gaze, defiance burning in his eyes. Whatever you throw at us, we'll face it together. Zenara's lips curled into a faint smile. We'll see if that holds true. As the sphere dissolved and the ship returned to the moon's surface, the crew realized one thing. This wasn't just a test of survival. It was a test of their very humanity. And the stakes were higher than they could imagine. The trial of strength. The air around the ship grew heavy, as if an invisible force was pressing down on the crew. The glowing sphere that had enveloped them moments ago dissipated, leaving behind a massive, shifting labyrinth that stretched as far as the eye could see. The walls of the maze shimmered like liquid metal, constantly morphing into new shapes and configurations. "Captain," Lieutenant Harper said, scanning the display. "The maze is alive. It's adapting to us." Before Raylan could respond, Zenara's voice resonated, sharp and cold. "Your second trial begins now. This is a test of your strength, not just of the body, but of the mind and spirit. Reach the center of the labyrinth before it consumes you, or you will cease to exist." As her words faded, the ground beneath them began to quake. The ship's alarms blared as massive tendrils of the maze shot upward, twisting and reaching toward them like sentient vines. "Evasive maneuvers," Raylan barked. The ship shuddered as the pilot veered sharply, narrowly avoiding a tendril that lashed out like a whip. "This isn't just a maze. It's hunting us," Harper muttered, her knuckles white as she clung to her station. Raylan stood tall, his voice steady. "We can't stay in the ship. We'll have to go on foot. Gear up." Into the labyrinth. The crew stepped out onto the metallic ground, the maze towering over them like a living fortress. The walls glimmered ominously, their surfaces reflecting distorted images of the team. "Stay close," Raylan ordered. "No one strays, no matter what." As they moved deeper into the maze, the path behind them closed off, leaving no chance to retreat. The walls shifted constantly, creating new passages and sealing others, as if the labyrinth were toying with them. A low growl echoed through the maze. "Captain, we're not alone," whispered Sergeant Cole, gripping his plasma rifle tightly. Moments later, a massive creature emerged from the shifting walls. Its body was covered in jagged metallic plates, and its glowing red eyes locked onto the humans. Without warning, it charged. "Take it down," Raylan shouted. The crew fired their weapons, but the creature's armor absorbed the blasts. Harper, thinking quickly, aimed for its joints, causing it to stumble. Raylan seized the opportunity, leaping onto the creature's back and plunging a blade into the exposed circuitry beneath its armor. The beast let out a deafening roar before collapsing into a heap of sparking metal. "We'll face more of those," Harper said, breathing heavily. Raylan nodded. "And we'll take them down together. Keep moving." A test of teamwork. The maze began to throw more challenges at them. Walls shifted faster, cutting off team members and forcing them to work together to regroup. Pits opened suddenly beneath their feet, requiring quick reflexes and trust in one another to survive. At one point, a section of the maze began to flood with a thick, corrosive liquid, forcing the crew to climb its ever-shifting walls. Harper slipped, but Raylan caught her wrist just in time, pulling her to safety. "You okay?" he asked, his voice steady. Harper nodded, shaken but determined. "Let's keep going." The center of the maze. After hours of navigating the relentless labyrinth, the crew finally reached a massive open chamber at its center. In the middle of the room was a pedestal holding a glowing orb. "This must be it," Raylan said, approaching cautiously. As he reached for the orb, Zenara's voice filled the chamber. "Well done, humans. But strength is not only measured in overcoming challenges. It is also measured in sacrifice." The walls of the chamber began to collapse inward, and the crew realized they wouldn't all make it out in time. "We have to leave now," Harper shouted. "No," said Sergeant Cole, stepping forward. "Someone has to hold off the maze, or none of us will make it. Go. I'll buy you time." Cole, no. Raylan protested. This is what strength means, Captain, Cole said with a faint smile. Protecting the team at all costs. Before anyone could stop him, Cole activated a portable shield and charged at the collapsing walls, holding them back just long enough for the rest of the crew to escape. Aftermath. Back on the surface, the remaining crew stood in silence, mourning their loss. Zinera appeared once more, her expression unreadable. You passed, she said simply, but at great cost. Perhaps there is more to your kind than I thought. Raylan stepped forward, his voice filled with resolve. You may see sacrifice as weakness, but for us, it's strength. It's what makes us human. Zinera regarded him for a long moment before disappearing, her cryptic smile lingering in their minds. As the crew prepared for the next trial, they knew one thing for certain. The labyrinth had tested not just their strength, but the very essence of their humanity. The betrayal. The ship's lights flickered as the crew regrouped in the central control room. The air was tense, heavy with the weight of what they had endured in the labyrinth. Captain Raylan scanned his team's faces, exhausted, bruised, but determined. We lost Cole, Raylan began, his voice steady but laced with grief. But we made it through because of his sacrifice. Let's honor him by making sure it wasn't in vain. Before anyone could respond, the ship's alarms blared. Red lights flashed across the console, and the voice of Zinera echoed through the comm system. Humans, she said, her tone icy and mocking. Do you truly trust one another? Let us find out. The crew exchanged uneasy glances. What's she playing at now? Harper asked, her voice tight. Suddenly, the ship shuddered violently. Systems began to shut down one by one. Navigation, weapons, even life support. Raylan rushed to the console, but the controls were locked. Sabotage, Harper said, her voice barely above a whisper. Raylan turned sharply to face his team. Who did this? The first seeds of doubt. The crew fell silent, their faces a mix of confusion and fear. It wasn't me. Engineer Rhea blurted out. I was working on the engines the entire time. Convenient, Lieutenant Harper said, narrowing her eyes. You're the only one with access to those systems. I would never betray the team. Rhea shot back. Raylan raised a hand to calm them. This is exactly what Zinera wants. Distrust. We're not giving her the satisfaction. Focus. Let's figure out what's happening. But as the captain spoke, a faint smirk appeared on one of the crew's faces. The revelation. As the ship drifted in the void, Raylan and Harper worked frantically to restore power. Then, a transmission interrupted their efforts. A distorted image of Zinera appeared on the main screen, her expression one of dark amusement. Did you really think all of you were loyal? She asked. Humans are so predictable. Survival makes even the most loyal among you fragile. The screen flickered, and a new image appeared. It was surveillance footage from earlier that day. The team watched in stunned silence as one of their own, Lieutenant Varen, was seen entering the control room and tampering with the ship's systems. Varen, Harper gasped, her face a mix of disbelief and anger. Varen stepped forward, his face calm and unapologetic. You don't understand. She offered me a way out, a guarantee that I'd survive. You betrayed us for yourself. Raylan's voice was low, seething with anger. Do you think this mission matters? Do you think Earth will remember us if we fail? I made the only logical choice. Varen snapped. The fallout. Raylan's fists clenched as he stepped toward Varen. Your choice could have cost us everything. Sacrifice is what got us this far. You threw it away for your own survival. Varen sneered. You think sacrifice makes you noble. It makes you expendable. I'm not going to die for a test we can't win. Before anyone could respond, Zinera's voice cut through the tension. Fascinating. Even in the face of extinction, your kind fractures. Perhaps I was right to doubt you. Raylan turned to the screen, his voice firm. You caused this. You preyed on our fears and weaknesses. Zenera tilted her head, feigning innocence. Did I? Or did I simply reveal what was already there? The crew's decision. Raylan looked back at Varen, his face hard with resolve. You've made your choice, but you're not taking the rest of us down with you. What are you saying? Varen asked, his confidence faltering. I'm saying you're confined to quarters until we're out of this trial. You're no longer part of this crew. Harper stepped forward, weapon drawn. Move. Varen hesitated, but the determination in the crew's eyes left him no room to argue. He was escorted away, leaving an uneasy silence behind. A glimmer of hope. With Varen removed, the crew worked together to undo the sabotage. Harper managed to bypass the locked systems, and Rhea restored partial power. The ship's systems flickered back to life, just enough to stabilize their course. As they regrouped, Zenera appeared again, her expression unreadable. You've surprised me, Captain. I expected you to fall apart, but you held together, barely. Let's see if you can keep that unity in the trials ahead. Her image disappeared, leaving the crew to contemplate her words. Raylan turned to his team. We faced betrayal and survived. Now we move forward. Together, no matter what. The crew nodded, their resolve stronger than ever. But as they prepared for the next trial, a lingering question remained. Had they truly seen the last of Zenera's tricks? Humanity's ingenuity. The ship floated in eerie silence, drifting toward an enormous crystalline structure suspended in the void. Its surface shimmered like a fractured mirror, reflecting countless distorted versions of the crew. The structure pulsed faintly, like a heartbeat, as if it were alive. Captain, Harper said, studying the readings on her console. That thing. It's emitting a signal we've never seen before. It's like it's calling to us. Before Raylan could respond, Zenera's voice filled the ship. Welcome to your next trial, humans. This is the trial of ingenuity. Before you lies the astral construct, a creation of pure thought and energy. It has no fixed rules, no single solution. If you can unravel its secrets, you will proceed. If not, her voice trailed off, leaving the implication hanging in the air. Raylan tightened his grip on the console. We'll figure it out. We always do. Zenera chuckled softly. We shall see. The crystalline structure began to glow brighter, and tendrils of light shot out, wrapping around the ship and pulling it inside. Inside the construct, the crew found themselves standing on an endless reflective plane. The ship was gone, and the only thing around them was the crystalline structure, now towering and pulsating with shifting colors. It's beautiful, Harper whispered, her voice tinged with awe. Beautiful or not, it's our next challenge, Raylan said. Stay sharp. A holographic interface materialized in front of them, its symbols shifting and morphing into alien patterns. What is this? Rhea asked, stepping closer to examine it. It's some kind of puzzle, Harper said, her fingers brushing the glowing symbols. But the patterns, they don't follow any logic I've seen before. As she touched a symbol, the structure emitted a low hum, and a section of the plane beneath them collapsed, revealing a swirling void. Careful, Raylan barked, pulling her back. The first clue. The crew spread out, carefully studying the holographic symbols. It's testing us, Harper said. Not just our knowledge, but how we think, our creativity. Raylan nodded. Then we think outside the box. What's different about this from anything we've seen before? Rhea frowned, her eyes scanning the interface. It's reacting to us. Every time we touch it, it changes. Maybe it's adapting to how we think. Harper snapped her fingers, or trying to predict us. What if we don't give it something predictable? Raylan nodded. Let's confuse it, work together, but approach it from completely different angles. Use everything we've got. Science, intuition, even gut instinct. The puzzle deepens. The crew began to experiment, combining logic with unconventional ideas. Rhea applied mathematical equations, while Harper used patterns from Earth's natural phenomena. Raylan, thinking back to Earth's history, remembered how humanity had solved problems by combining seemingly unrelated ideas. "What about music?" he said suddenly. "Music?" Harper asked, confused. "Think about it," Raylan explained. "Music is universal. It's math and emotion combined. Maybe this thing recognizes that." Harper hesitated but then started humming a tune, adjusting the holographic symbols in rhythm. The construct responded, glowing brighter. "It's working," Rhea exclaimed. "The final challenge." Just as the crew thought they were making progress, the construct changed. The symbols disappeared, replaced by an image of Earth, fractured into pieces. "What now?" Harper asked, frustration creeping into her voice. Raylan stared at the image, his mind racing. "It's a metaphor," he said. "Earth isn't perfect. We're fragmented, different cultures, languages, ways of thinking. But that's our strength. We find unity in our diversity." He reached out and touched the pieces of Earth, rearranging them into a new shape. A sphere, but imperfect, with jagged edges. The construct pulsed, its light intensifying until it enveloped them. Victory through innovation. When the light faded, the crew was back on their ship. The crystalline structure was gone, and Zinara's image appeared on the main screen. "You've surprised me yet again," she said, her tone unreadable. "Many species attempt brute force or flawless precision, but you succeeded by embracing imperfection. You found beauty in chaos." "Ingenious, indeed." Raylan met her gaze, his voice steady. "That's humanity for you. We're not perfect, but we're adaptable. We solve problems our way." Zinara smiled faintly. "Perhaps your kind is more than I anticipated. But do not grow complacent. The next trial will demand more than ingenuity. It will demand everything." As her image disappeared, the crew exchanged looks of quiet determination. They had passed another trial. But the stakes were rising, and they knew the next challenge could break them, or prove once and for all that humanity was worthy of the stars. The final trial. The ship came to a jarring halt, as if it had hit an invisible wall. The crew stumbled but quickly regained their footing. Outside, the view had changed. They were no longer in the void but hovering above a breathtaking alien landscape. Towering crystalline spires stretched toward a golden sky, and lush, glowing vegetation blanketed the ground below. "Where are we?" Harper asked, her voice filled with awe. Before anyone could answer, Zinara's voice echoed through the ship, colder and more commanding than ever. "This is your final trial, humans, a test of your morality, your essence as a species. Before you lies an alien colony, home to thousands of sentient beings. They are unaware of your presence." The main screen flickered, displaying two glowing icons. One represented the colony below, and the other displayed a countdown. 5 minutes. Zinara continued, "Here is your choice. Save the colony or save yourselves. If you choose to save them, your ship will be destroyed, and you will perish. If you choose yourselves, the colony will be eradicated. Decide quickly, for hesitation will result in the destruction of both." The crew froze, the weight of the decision crashing down on them. "This is madness," Harper shouted, slamming her fist on the console. "She's forcing us to play God." Raylan stared at the screen, his jaw clenched. "It's more than that. She wants to know who we are, what we value most." The debate. The room erupted in heated discussion. "We can't just let them die," Rhea argued, her voice trembling. "We have to save the colony. And throw our lives away in the process," another crew member countered. "If we die here, who will warn Earth? Who will tell them what we faced?" "Enough," Raylan barked, silencing the room. "We don't have time to argue. We need a plan." He turned to Harper. "Is there any way to override the countdown?" Harper shook her head, her frustration evident. "The system is locked. Whatever this is, it's beyond our tech." Raylan's mind raced. The clock was ticking, and the fate of 2 civilizations rested on their choice. The unexpected twist. As the countdown hit 3 minutes, Zanera's image appeared on the main screen, her expression inscrutable. "Struggling, Captain. It's fascinating to watch your kind wrestle with such decisions. Most species would choose survival without hesitation." Raylan locked eyes with her. "You think this is a game? Lives are at stake." "Precisely," Zanera said, her tone icy. "And in the face of extinction, true character is revealed." Raylan took a deep breath, his resolve hardening. "If it's character you want to see, then watch closely." The decision. Raylan turned to his crew. "We're not choosing ourselves. That's not who we are." "Captain," Harper started, but Raylan held up a hand. "I know the risks. I know what we're giving up. But humanity is more than survival. If we abandon these people, we prove her right. We're not worthy of the stars." One by one, the crew nodded, their fear giving way to determination. Raylan activated the console, selecting the icon for the colony. The countdown stopped, and Zanera's image returned, her expression unreadable. "You've chosen self-sacrifice," she said. "Interesting. But is it genuine or an act of desperation?" The ship shuddered violently as energy surged through it. Systems failed and the lights dimmed. The crew braced for the end. A new beginning. But the destruction never came. Instead, the ship stabilized, and the golden sky outside dissolved into the familiar black void of space. Zanera appeared once more, her tone softer, but still laced with intrigue. "You have passed," she said. "Few species have the courage to place others above themselves, especially in the face of death. Humanity has earned its place among the stars." Raylan exhaled, relief washing over him. So it was never about survival. It was about proving we're more than just instinct. Zanera nodded, a faint smile playing on her lips. "Exactly. And you've proven that humanity's potential lies not in its power, but in its compassion. Perhaps your kind is worth watching after all." As the screen went dark and the ship's systems rebooted, the crew sat in stunned silence. They had faced the impossible and emerged victorious, not through strength or cunning, but through the simple act of putting others first. Raylan stood, his voice steady and resolute. "Let's head home. We have a story to tell, and a future to prepare for." The ship turned toward Earth, leaving behind the trials and entering a new chapter of humanity's journey into the stars. Humanity's worth. The ship floated in silence, drifting away from the battlefield of trials. The crew, battered but resolute, stared at the void beyond their windows. They had survived Zanera's games, but the weight of what they had endured lingered in the air. Suddenly, the main console sparked to life, and Zanera's image appeared once more. But this time, she was not alone. Behind her stood several figures, each radiating power and wisdom. They were taller, more imposing, their features alien yet undeniably regal. "Captain Raylan," Zanera began, her voice calm but solemn. "You and your crew have reached the end of your trials. Now your final judgment lies not with me, but with the elders of the Astral Conclave, the overseers of our galaxy's destiny." Raylan straightened, his gaze unwavering. "We've proven our worth. Humanity is ready to stand among the stars." One of the elders stepped forward, his eyes glowing with an otherworldly light. His voice boomed, echoing in their minds. "You have shown courage, ingenuity, and compassion. These traits are rare, but are they enough to balance your species' flaws, your aggression, your recklessness, your thirst for power?" The question hung in the air like a blade, a test of words. Raylan stepped forward, his voice steady. "We are not perfect. Humanity has made mistakes, but those mistakes are what drive us to grow. We learn, adapt, and strive to be better. Our flaws don't define us. Our ability to overcome them does." Another elder spoke, her tone skeptical. "Your kind is young and unpredictable. How can we trust that you will not bring chaos to the galaxy? Harper stepped beside Raylan, her voice firm. Because we know what it means to fight for survival, not just for ourselves, but for others. We've proven that in your trials. We value life, even when it's not our own. The elders exchanged glances, their expressions unreadable. The moment of judgment. Zinera's gaze softened as she turned to the elders. I doubted them too, but their choices surprised even me. Perhaps their unpredictability is not a flaw, but their greatest strength. The elders deliberated silently, their thoughts shared in an unseen exchange. Finally, the lead elder turned to Raylan and his crew. Humanity is unrefined, he said, his voice heavy. But within you lies a potential we cannot ignore. The stars are vast and full of dangers. Perhaps your kind will bring balance where others have failed. Raylan's heart pounded as the elder continued. We grant humanity the right to explore and engage with the galaxy. But know this, your actions will shape your future. Prove that you are more than chaos and ambition. Show us that you can create harmony among the stars. The gift. Zinera stepped forward, holding a small glowing sphere. This is the Nexus beacon, she explained. It will guide you to allies, knowledge, and opportunities among the stars. Use it wisely, for it is both a gift and a responsibility. Raylan accepted the sphere, its warmth pulsing in his hand. We won't squander this chance. Humanity will rise to meet the challenges ahead. The elders faded from the screen, leaving Zinera alone. For the first time, her expression was not one of disdain, but of quiet respect. You've proven me wrong, Captain, she said. Perhaps your kind truly is worth watching. I'll be keeping an eye on humanity. Don't disappoint me. With that, her image disappeared, and the ship's systems roared back to life, stronger and more advanced than before. A new era begins. As the crew charted their course back to Earth, the weight of their journey settled in. They had faced impossible trials, survived unimaginable odds, and earned the respect of beings far beyond their understanding. Raylan turned to his crew, a small but determined smile on his face. This isn't the end. It's the beginning. Let's show the galaxy what humanity is truly capable of. The ship surged forward, leaving the trials behind, and heading into the uncharted expanse of the universe. The stars, once distant and unreachable, now held the promise of a brighter, united future for humanity. Their story had become more than survival. It was a declaration to the cosmos. Humanity was here to stay.